Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's had an amazing day. So let's jump into it. It's kind of a chill day, just um, as expected. As I was saying last night, I didn't think there'd be much going on. I believed a pullback uh, would be underway, and that's exactly what we got. Now, in terms of Nasdaq, the pullback was bought aggressively. I don't know if this is going to be the end of the pullback or not. I don't know, but wow, what a recovery today. Um, yeah, that's pretty wild. Um, let's look at Nasdaq still looks great. Let's look at some of the larger companies in here. You have Apple that still cannot get above the 50-day moving average. This is not a good sign. We also need to really start thinking about the whole reshoring idea, and how much pressure these companies are going to be under to move their supply chains into the US. And if that is the case, Apple will be hit very hard. Let's look at Microsoft. Ooh, awesome. Great day for Microsoft. It's fighting to stay above this 200-day moving average. I hope it does and can turn up, because this would be an awesome long base, and would provide some fuel moving forward here. Microsoft. Let's look at Amazon. Good day for Amazon. Well, yeah, really good day for Amazon. Jeez. There is serious demand for stocks right now. Amazon. Let's look at Google. Google looks good. Google. Okay, now let's go over to NVIDIA. Great day for NVIDIA. Again, just the demand for stocks right now is very strong. All right, let's jump over to S&P. Yeah, I wouldn't start a position here. But sitting right at all-time highs, expect some sort of a pullback or a more obvious entry point before adding any new positions. Let's go over Russell 2000. Yeah, this would be so cool if it keeps moving up. Again, same thing. This is not an obvious place to enter this, so we'll just continue to wait for a pullback and a more obvious entry point. Let's go over Dow Jones. So kind of right at my price target is right where I started pulling back, so let's get rid of this now that I have no use for it. we'll figure out another price target in the future. Dow was pretty weak today. I think Dow was very weak. Let's go over some of the larger holdings in Dow and just see how they look. I would expect United Health to continue to pull back. Geez, I can't really think right now. Goldman Sachs. Yeah, I would expect this to keep kind of pulling back. Goldman Sachs. Let's look at Amgen. Wow, that's pretty wild. -7%. I have no clue what happened there. Huh. Okay. Well, that's not good. And then, geez, what else? Yeah, we already went over Microsoft. So, yeah, we can move on. I would expect Dow, there'll be a better entry point. Oh, let's go over Caterpillar. Caterpillar. Man, this is getting to be a really good entry point for Caterpillar here pretty soon. Okay, all right. So that kind of took care of all the indexes. Now, something I wanted to discuss actually about NASDAQ and the strength of NASDAQ is semis yesterday were really lagging, and I think Apple was also down pretty big, and the tech NASDAQ held up just fine, which shows a broadening out. You don't need any sort of fancy chart to verify that. It's just kind of obvious. When Nvidia and Apple weren't having a good day, and the NASDAQ index was holding up well. And so that shows that there's a lot of strength and, like I said, a broadening out in markets and in stocks. So that's good, super bullish. Geez, semis can't even come back up and fill this gap. Wow. So yeah, so NASDAQ breaks out to an all-time high and semis don't. So, that's good. That's good to see. I'm a little bit worried about Apple, but okay. All right. So let's go over everything that I did today. So, we'll just cover what I did first. So, in some of my contracts for NASDAQ, I closed them out. So basically, this is the market open first 30 minutes here. And so you have a trading range of, of this area. Now, anywhere below that, I was going to get out of my call options and NASDAQ. And so that's what I did. So got out of, like an hour in or something into the trading day. I got out of the TQQQ calls, somewhere in here. Those were January 17 expiration, $84 strike price. I got those for $6.70. I sold it for $6.05, which is a loss of right around 10%. So, what were some of the mistakes that I had made? The mistake was after I had, closed out the majority of this whole position here, on this day, I added to, I went long NASDAQ again, because I had closed everything out. And I went long NASDAQ again, and I forced that trade. So that wasn't a good thing to do. Now, keep the loss small, it's no big deal. I have those debit spreads on still. Okay, so how do I know that I forced that trade? Well, I was looking for one more day of continuation. So there's that. The second thing is there was no obvious entry point. You started getting a little bit stretched. Now things can definitely get, a lot more crazy, but the probability is less, and that's what is important. So that was a forced trade. I still have those debit spreads on. Those are 440 for the debit spreads. Those are December 13 expiration, $80 the long call, $90 on the short call. $4.40, and those are currently $4.17. So I'll hold these. And tomorrow's CPI, I'll hold those into CPI unless something just crazy happens. I don't exactly know what to expect for CPI. I don't know if things are going to be crazy or not. I suspect the manipulation of the data, now that the election has been decided, I suspect the manipulation of the data will stop, and it may reflect a little bit more of what the true CPI numbers are. But that's just a suspicion and is yet to be proven true. Okay. XLF, I closed out this position. Man, I didn't want to, but it kind of ran out of steam. And with the pullback kind of starting, here, let's get rid of this thing. Now that we're out, we'll draw a different one. This still looks fantastic, but we'll look to get back in. But with the pullbacks getting pretty heavy in Dow this morning, and Berkshire Hathaway is kind of struggling to catch up to its peers here. It's kind of struggling, and given that's the largest position in that fund, and then you have Goldman Sachs that obviously things are very stretched in the short term. MasterCard, Visa, same thing, getting up there, right? How much more upside potential could there really be here over the rest of this week? I didn't really believe that it was worth it. So those were January 17, $45 strike price. Let's go over to XLF. Average cost on those was $2.88. I sold it for $5.30, which is a gain of 84%. And overall, I would say that was a very, very good trade. This is a good one. The more that I think about it now, I entered here knowing that I would take this down to the 50-day moving average, and even though we had the election coming up, those things, they don't really change how I trade. Really, I just trade my signals. Anyways, so then I added on this day, right out here at the 50-day moving average, and then the following trading day, as it was picking up steam and strength, that markets were strong that day going into the election. So I thought, hey, I gotta add to this. So then I added again for that third day, and it almost got to my price target, and I sold it based upon analysis and zero emotion. So overall, that was a really good trade and something to learn from. Okay. All right, moving on. Bitcoin, still equity position in this at $33.07 is the average cost. It's currently $52.83, so that is a fantastic gain that we're holding. The equity position is nowhere near selling this right now. Nowhere near. This could pull back all the way and fill this gap, and I will still be holding that. And as a matter of fact, if it does, that would be so cool if it would pull back all the way here and fill the gap. For the P&L for the couple days, I would not be happy, but I will be adding if that is the case. This still looks good. My next price target's right around 100,000. Again, this is for futures, so this is a little bit different than spot price. It's like 1,000 or 2 off or something. So let's just remove this. It's such an eyesore. Oh, so much better. Yeah, I mean, you guys, if you look at this on a weekly chart, I mean, come on. Huge volume on the breakout. And it's just been skyrocketing since. Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Woo. All right. Goldman Sachs. I'm still in Goldman Sachs. I won't be closing this one out for a long time. Probably just like Nvidia. Yeah, this looks great. I mean, obviously it's pretty stretched here, right? But yeah, I mean, just the volume on that day, and then yeah, it's pretty wild. The demand right now. All right, now let's go to a new position that I started. So here, CCJ, their uranium company, nuclear, is something that I missed the initial leg on, but have been building my watch list over the last couple weeks. Here it is here on the left-hand side. When I saw, where is this? Here it is. White House plan would provide huge boost for nuclear power. I thought, oh shoot, I forgot about nuclear. So I looked through, my watch list, and this one looks very, very good. I think there's another one that looks better. Similar. Now, this one, the options market is like completely illiquid on this thing. So, or not liquid enough. So, I opted for this one. Now, let's go over some reasons as to why. So I write down, I take notes every day, so we'll just read through this. Let's start. So SHOP is up huge on earnings, which is good for another good sign for the economy. Let's go to that real quick. We can come back. Let's do this in order. Yeah, look at this. Wow. So clearly the reaction to earnings was really good. That's another good sign here for the economy. Yeah, so the semis weakness with Qs holding up. Qs are holding up. Apple weakness. Microsoft weakness, although today was a good day for it. So that's a good sign for NASDAQ. Blah, blah, blah. I need to write down the XLF position, so I can take notes on that one. Okay, and then so long CCJ. So let's go over why. Uranium play, nuclear. So missed earnings. They missed earnings on this day. Market didn't care at all. Look at this. Huge dumps. Gets completely bought back up. All after hours and pre-market. And then the next trading day, it ends up. Then And so one of my sayings is, if the market doesn't care, then I don't care, and clearly market didn't care. And then you had an analyst that was upgrading uh, this stock like the day after earnings or 2 days after earnings. Now, again, I could care less what analysts say. As a matter of fact, I don't even read it. I sometimes, if it pops up and I'm researching a company, then yeah, obviously I'll read it or look at it. But it's essentially meaningless. What they say. Uh, so but regardless, so these are still a couple things. You kind of throw in more probabilities where it's like, dang, okay, so the market clearly didn't care that they missed earnings. Analysts are saying, hey, this is a good stock, we're raising our target price right after they miss earnings. And then, okay, so nuclear play. Why is nuclear a huge thing right now? Well, you have mega tech companies like Microsoft buying nuclear, power plants to power their data centers. Government is getting into nuclear energy, and they should. I'm not going to go off on a huge tangent about nuclear, but all this crap about green energy that, all these Democrats always push, but their actions always prove otherwise, but people still listen to them. But nuclear energy is clean energy. So you could have clean, abundant energy in America. So these are things that should be funded and explored. Now the downside is when they go wrong, they can really go wrong. Now, there's ways to mitigate it, and France is a good model for that. You have a bunch of little ones. Another thing is, Elon said that they're like nowadays you can make them impossible to burn down. I don't know if that's true or not, but he would know more than I would. So we'll go with that. Okay, so let's go into the technical analysis. The technical analysis is beautiful. You have a cup with handle, and if you notice, this handle is started after highs. This handle is a little bit more than 10%. What is that, like 15% or something? So it's kind of a deep handle, but regardless, that's such a good sign where the handle starts at an all-time high or new highs. Now, you could also have another little, say this is also kind of a little cup with handle in here, and I believe it is. You have a double bottom here. For it to be like a true, very powerful, just a double bottom, I like to see the right side go below it, but nevertheless, I would say this is also a double bottom. And here, big volume. This is the other thing that's super important, is huge volume on the up days. Huge volume on the up days. Very important. That shows strong demand for this stock. Today, good volume. Now let's go on the weekly chart. Beautiful looking cup with handle as it tries to come out. Not overdone at all on the weekly. So if this works out, that would be good. Now I missed this back here, right around here at 20, slow stochastic. I missed it all in this area, unfortunately. But such is life. You snooze, you lose. I caught this today. So this is 11:50, I think, Pacific time, probably. I'm on Pacific, so closer to the end of the day. So then I'm going through watch list, blah blah blah. I got in like here. Yeah, like right in here. But I did not view this at the time as chasing. We'll have yet to see if it was or not. All right. Calls. January 17, $50 strike price. So again, so we're looking at like 66 days to expiration or whatever it is. 66 days to expiration, 10% in the money. So again, for all intents and purposes, that is conservative. Now, if you're looking to hold, for a year, obviously that's not going to work. But, as a swing trader, that is conservative. So, those $6.45, that was closed $6.67. Okay, that's it. Let's go through some nuclear power stuff. This is another chart that I think looks good. And the reason I had passed on this, although if this can move out, this will be a banger that I'll continue to watch, is because of the stochastic that was up here. I figured there's better entry points with other ones. Also, for me to consider this kind of like a dead trade, you would have to give this a lot of leeway. This can move down 10% or more than 10% to $20 and be completely fine. That's too much risk for me for an entry. But again, you have huge volume coming in. So we looked at a couple other ones. Let's look at so the nuclear ETF, nukes, was super cool. Down for the day. So you like to see, I immediately caught my attention of the ones that are up. All right, let's go over tomorrow. So, whoa, what happened to biotech? Awesome. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, see, this is what I was saying. Somewhere around 100 is where I'd look to start a position. But I want to wait for this to come down a little bit more. But cool, awesome. Biotech down pretty big. Wow. That's probably Amgen, huh? Awesome. All right, this is going to give a much nicer starting position. So tomorrow CPI is coming out. Again, I don't. I've taken most profits and things. Short oil, short supply. Oh yeah. The next thing, let's see how oil's looking today. I think it was down. Yeah, pretty big. Yeah, it was. Wow. Yeah, this play is gonna, if it works out, this will pay for a while. Okay. Another thing to think about is the onshoring supply chain. So what companies would be a beneficiary of an onshoring play, but more in terms of supply chain? So maybe manufacturing companies that build out warehouses, manufacturing plants, and which companies would be hurt the most by that. And also, so you think of Apple or these large companies that have lots of international exposure. Now, clearly, I still think those are going to work out just fine, but we're looking for things that can outperform. So, that'll be kind of in the back of my mind what I'm thinking about going forward. Let's look at China. They keep talking about all the stimulus stuff. And I caught this move up to here. And it got out of that and missed this whole thing. Now, we'll see what happens around here. But they keep talking about stimulus. China is in a bad position economically. They have been for a long time. And they continue to be in a bad position. They're talking about all sorts of economic stimulus. Whether they do it or not is yet to be seen. I don't know if they even have the ability to, honestly. But yeah, that's yet to be seen. Okay, Japan. It's kind of struggling to hang on. Let's look at Taiwan Semiconductor. I haven't seen this one in a long time. Yeah, that's fine. That's whatever. All right, that's it, everybody. We will catch you tomorrow. CPI. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, unless a major signal happens one way or the other, I probably won't be doing much, if anything. All right. See you guys.